It's a simple matter to dismiss Omega Force's prolific Warriors series as one that's just milking the formula for all it's worth. Even dedicated fans can find themselves asking, to no one in particular, really? This year feels even more over the top than ever before, with adaptations of anime, strategy games, and spin-off series launching one after another. Yet, the developers always make an effort to give each title its own flavor and its own feel. Each comes with a noticeable, but almost intangible difference that takes the tried and true gameplay and tweaks it. Omega Force's latest, Warriors All-Stars, is certainly different. Pulling characters from all over Koei Tecmo's stable of properties, this is a heavily anime-tinged and almost self-consciously silly take on the evolution of the beat-em-up. And it's something the series needed. No fanservice crossover project can get by without a convoluted plot to bring the heroes together, and boy, Omega Force doesn't disappoint. In a world populated by furry bait animal creatures, one fixture is more important than any other: the spring. A small body of water from which all life springs from, it has become the subject of numerous legends. It's also dying. Using the spring's last remaining magical power, 3 royal children perform a rite to summon heroes from realms near and far. Heroes that, according to legend, will rescue the world and resurrect the spring via the healing arts of knocking innumerable heads together. And of course, something goes wrong. Instead of the heroes arriving at a central location, they are scattered across the world and confused. Each of the 3 royal children realize that the world-ending calamities and otherworldly screw-ups are the perfect time to exercise their ambitions. They set forth to recruit heroes in their party and convince them to not only rescue the spring, but install their leader as the world's ruler. Anime. For somebody looking for a more coherent narrative to drive the action forward, this can be a tad messy. In the pantheon of crossover titles though, the purpose is served perfectly. A game that focuses on mashing franchises together does absolutely need to pull far and wide to create an enticing roster, and Warriors All-Stars certainly pulls it off. Battlefield specialists like Dynasty Warriors Lu Bu and Samurai Warriors Yukimaru Sanada will face off against Ninja Gaiden's Ryu and Dead or Alive's Kasumi. Then we have characters like Nobunaga Oda from Samurai Cats teaming up with Deception's Legrena, and things just get weird from there. As the Warriors Orochi series still exists, this is nothing too surprising. Omega Force made an intentional decision to not redraw the characters so that they have a unifying art style, giving conversations and battles a jarring lack of cohesion. As these are denizens of other worlds, each with their own existing fanbases, it makes sense to maintain the original look of heroes. And frankly, redrawing Sophie from the Tyrie series so that she looks more in line with the Muso titles would have robbed it of some of its charm. The battle system itself can feel quite familiar to series veterans. Utilizing its fast-paced action elements on a decently sized map and a body count in its hundreds, the combat can be incredibly addictive, albeit a bit repetitive at times. The wrinkle here though is in the bravery system. With this, at the start of a stage, the player is at level 1 bravery, with enemy officers having their own set level. Through accomplishing side tasks and just plain knocking the crud out of enemies, the player's bravery level will increase, bolstering their stats. The other fresh introduction comes in the form of a Muso Rush. Here the player is given a limited amount of time to cause as many enemy casualties as possible. The enemies just don't stop coming though, as time is added when the player does well enough to cause a supporting character to begin cheering you on. In short order, there will be 4 of your teammates cheering, the players knocking hundreds of enemies in the air, all to a rainbow-colored overlay and peppy music, creating a moment that causes one to wonder if the design team was having too much fun. It's bizarrely entertaining. Unfortunately, the biggest issue with Warriors All-Stars comes in the form of a lack of multiplayer. These games were made for a cooperative experience. This is a drum that has been beaten before, and it's one that will continue to pop up as long as Omega Force ignores the best feature of the series since Dynasty Warriors 3. For the record, it doesn't need to be online. We're just looking for cooperative play and are willing to accept frame rate and pop-in issues. The only true fresh aspect to character improvement comes in the form of equipable cards. Initially, this can be confounding as some cards can be fed to other cards like a free-to-play mobile game, and it doesn't help that the in-game explanations are just poorly done. The easiest way to get around this is just to think of them as weapons, being able to enhance, break down, and to be sold. That's all they really are in the end. Once a player switches their internal understanding, the collection of these things makes perfect sense. It's almost as if the developers realized that card games are pretty popular right now and wanted to capitalize on the trend, but it didn't really work out. Warriors All-Stars is familiar, but is still a fresh take on a worn series. This is one for the fans who want to get a little silly with it, along with those who have an affinity for other Koei Tecmo titles. It provides players with a respectable roster of heroes that, well, really don't belong together, creating a unique experience under a well-known template. The most important thing though is that Warriors All-Stars is all sorts of fun, and really that's all that matters. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Otherwise, for everything Warriors All-Stars and gaming related, head on over to hardcoregamer.com for your fix.